Hey everyone, welcome to another video. So I'm going to do a quick under 10-minute video on how to separate the wheel hubs from the knuckles on 1G DSMs, Galant VR4, and Mitsubishi Expos. So essentially, when you remove the hub assembly from the knuckle, you'll be left with something that looks like this. And this is the bearing race. And it usually gets stuck on here, so I'm going to show you in this video how to actually remove this so that you get the hubs ready for installation. So essentially what happens is you get a 27mm socket in order to actually remove it from the knuckle. If you have a press, you basically set this in here, and you support the two sides of the knuckle carefully so that and you leave enough room on the press to where this can basically fall out. And obviously you wear, eye protection, safety gear, all that stuff. But that's one way to do it. Another way you can do it is with safety protection again, obviously. You put a 27mm socket over the area here and you hit it with a 3-pound hammer. Sometimes, if they're not rusted real bad in here, you can actually, or seized, I suppose, you can actually get them to separate like this. And it's usually a little bit more graceful to use a press. But anyway, if you don't have access to it, I'm not going to judge. I'm just going to say try it that way. If that doesn't work, they have hub pullers, tools that can actually pull these out as well. But anyway, the real focus of the video is supposed to be separating. Basically, you want to be left with something like this so that you're ready to put a new seal on it, and then, which is this thing, and then put a new bearing inside of the knuckle. But basically, it's going to be hub prep. So what you're going to want to do is first you're going to get tin snips, and you're going to cut the old seal off, which is going to be down in here. Usually you can get away with just using the tin snips, but if you have to, you may have to pry in there with a flat screwdriver to kind of get it to encourage it to break loose and everything. But once it's out and off of here, you'll be left with this all the way down on the bottom though. But if you look really closely at this here under the light, you'll notice there's a step there. So with this pressed all the way down to like about here, you have about that much room to get a 2-jaw puller underneath this thing to actually pull it out. But before that can even be done, you need to use a angle grinder, which is what we have here in the back. And sometimes you don't have to, but I ended up having to because this was just on there really good because it's press fit. And I just basically put a nice X in this. Sometimes you'll have to go at both sides, which is what I had to do on this one. So you see that I have it cut here and there. He heated this up really good to where it would actually expand enough to where it let go, and I was able to pull it off with this 2-jaw puller right here. And the part number is, well, the brand is OEM, and the part number is 25914. And they sell 3-jaw ones. You might be able to get away with using one of those, and it might be better, but this is the one that I used, and I managed to actually get away with using it. So, and I used the wider jaws, essentially, not the narrow ones. So anyway, once I got enough room to from removing the seal to actually get this in there, I was able to actually cut these enough with the angle grinder to where they let go. Now when you cut these, you do want to be careful because you don't want to go all the way through. If you do, you can damage the material here. Notice I got a small nick right there on the top, but that's not too bad. It's still serviceable. I can still use this. But if you get really deep gashes in this, you might want to consider just scrapping it and get another, hub pretty much. So this one's still assembled. So this is what you'd probably be working with, pre-cutting the seal here. And, obviously haven't cut this yet. But essentially all of this is going to apply to 1G DSMs, the Expo, Mitsubishi Expo, and Galant VR4, when they do 5-lug swaps, they essentially pull the old 4-lug hubs out, and then they basically put these ones in. But this one needs to be prepped. Anyway, once you get this all cut, what I ended up doing to continue pressing it out is I put this 27mm socket on the top here, and I believe I had a 14mm bolt. It's kind of my spares, and I set that up here. If you have something else that you could put in here to make this flat. So essentially, my main concern is try not to mess up the threads on this, because it'll fit in there and then they'll get messed up on this socket. So essentially, nice save there. Just put this here, got this bolt, put that in there, and then basically this ends up pulling the race all the way off of the hub, so that now you can put a brand new seal in there, and when you press in the new bearing into the knuckle, essentially you're just going to be pressing this into the knuckle assembly there. So basically this would be flipped around, and the press is going to be pushing down on this as it goes into the actual knuckle assembly. So pretty much that's the process, because I've had some people ask how, to separate this thing, because sometimes I'll help people out and, get them, 5-lug hubs so that they can swap their cars. And they sometimes ask, how do you get all this stuff off? And that's pretty much the whole process. You just use tin snips to destroy, and, an angle grinder to destroy this stuff. And then you can get to a point where, it's like this. And that's essentially how it's done. If you learned anything from the video, consider giving it a like. And even if not, if you just like the video, give it a like, whatever. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. If you didn't like the video, well, I'm sorry if it didn't help you. But yeah, I might do another video showing some other parts or process of this. If you guys need any more information about this, let me know in the comments below. Thanks you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.